and all that shit. Like what we'll do is we need to do a Calendly, and that's going to make our life easier. But before that, like let's agree we shift to Tuesday or something that's not one day.
I'm
Frank, we're
recording,
already
by the way.
recording.
That's fine. You'll
We're
cut the
recording.
beginning. All right.
No, I'm not
now
gonna do anything.
Welcome to Messy Middle. I don't know what music.
You were supposed to do the
you-
music too, Frank.
Yeah,
I have a life. I have to work on all that shit.
3
Well,
months
if you
already.
All right, you guys can pay me, and then I'll do it. I need motivation. I'm kidding. Okay. It's a creative process. I mean, have you seen a movie where the guy is like writer's block? Like I sat in front of my computer for hours and I can't figure out what to do, but I'll do it.
Just ask the AI
Yes.
to create something.
Welcome to the messy middle.
It's messy.
It's
very messy
certainly
today.
messy.
Today's messy.
It's a
We've been
messy
talking for-
day. I don't think
As,
we have.
as it happens
I
in
don't think
messy middle land, it's pretty common.
I think we can talk about some of our updates, maybe some interesting things that we see in the world at the moment, how we sort of process what's going on as we go through the messy middle and making these decisions. I would love to cover. I mean, for me, I can get into it and then let you guys kind of go into it. I think I'm almost like 6 months into the messy middle at this point. It was August. I did the SPAC. I sold the SPAC, signed. It was announced July, but it closed in August. And it's Feb 6, I think, right now. So it's about 6 months in, and my average is 6 months to a year until I figure out the next project. And I feel it immensely, that the pressure that I need to start something and get into something now. And it's pretty demanding. And I had a very nice ski weekend with my dad this past weekend. And of course, I was in Paris the week before. But I don't know, how do you guys deal with all of the information overload from all these different sources, news, social media, LinkedIn, to sort of make your decision on like which trends you want to go after or things to work on?
Yeah, I can
Or like what's
go and
important?
then Teddy can jump.
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, to me, there's different phase, and right now we're definitely in the 2000 late 90s kind of things where everything is new and everything is awesome. If I have to talk like the Lego movie, AI, VR, like even like blockchain is going to be back when the halving is coming. So it's very different from the phase where it's maturing and you have like too many startups and then you shift more towards investment. Right now, it's definitely like the startup style, and the way I digest it is I don't like when the AI GPT, like I've been working on GPT, like and no deep learning for a while, and I was like, that's cool, I've got tons of ideas, and then suddenly everywhere in the news, GPT. I'm like, oh shit, I've been too slow, and then I couldn't sleep like much, and Teddy knows that, like for a couple of weeks. So just like fuck, I need to do something, but I couldn't find anything to do that wouldn't be replaced by OpenAI, which by the way at least was true. So I guess my process is I don't process, I just take everything. But I really like there was this short quote I saw recently, this mini interview like from this guy, what's his name, Gabriel, from the Nest.
Tony Fidel.
Yeah. And he said something I
Can
like,
I do
which
it?
is...
Can I tell a Tony
Yes.
Fidel story after this? But say
Sure, of course. And then we'll pass it to Teddy. But anyway, to me, he said something that really helped me, which is sometimes, sure, I'm looking for ideas, blah, 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 but he said the good ideas are the one who pursue you. And I kind of think that's kind of a process. I've got tons of ideas, and then I talk to people, say, hey, what about we do this? What about we do that? And then it kind of fades away. But then there's these ideas that keep coming back, and I can't get rid of them. And I think you just take as much information as you can, and at one point there's something that's going to emerge, that just keeps coming back, and you just can't get rid of it to the point that you have to do it. And I like that. That gives me hope. I think that's pretty cool. Like to be whatever keeps coming back. You try to be like, oh, I should do that. Like, yes, I can do it that way. And they're like, no, it doesn't work. And then you dismiss it. But then it comes back, and then you have another way of advancing. And that really gives me hope, because that's definitely the process I see for myself.
That's cool. Gabriel, you want to tell the story?
Sure.
Go ahead.
And I want to comment on what Frank is saying. I think he's right in a way, because I've always been passionate about this idea of taking over companies and raising money to do that. Obviously, I did that with the SPAC. In theory, it's not taking over the company, you're taking it public, but it was the poor man's private equity. So you don't have to raise a fund. You can just raise a couple $100 million to do that. And now, in my sort of messy middle, I'm deciding, startups, turnarounds, right, doing both at the same time. And it's still the same concept, which is like, how do we raise money to go figure out or find a company to do this around? And I don't necessarily know if this time around it's going to work either, because there's a lot of issues that I see, which is number one, you need to find the company, and number two, you need to find the money. And you can do it
The
simultaneously, but with a
team.
team, but we have, yeah, but I have kind of a team from the SPAC. It's not the most,
True.
it's not the youngest team on the earth, but they've done a lot of interesting things. But the challenge is, then you're fighting on both sides. You need to find the company, you need to find the money, and I don't know if I'm up for that challenge right now, because at least with a startup, you can raise the money, and yeah, you're still fighting. You're only fighting on one side. So the Tony Fadell story, which I find is interesting, it's people always ask, which regrets do you have in business? We actually could talk about regrets too. Maybe that would be fun, because that's regrets, and then analyzing and rationalizing them that they're not actually regrets. I really don't have many, except for this one with Tony Fadell, which is I turned down Tony Fadell and his group at the time. I think they're called Future Shape.
I try to remember. Is it because he had insane term sheet because he'd been traumatized or something? Yeah.
He had a safe note that was, our safe note was standard, and we raised $2.5 or $3 million on that safe note, and his check would have been $250, and they wanted a bunch of different things, which I was totally happy to give, including confidentiality, info rights, all of that. And I kind of regret not accepting all of his terms, but the challenge was that one of his terms that he wanted would have potentially affected all of the other safe notes and would have put us in an awkward position. I don't exactly.
He would have 250K and nothing else, or whatever he puts. Yeah.
Something like that. But my regret was like, well, if I did get Tony, and he was so hands-on, he was on the iPhone team, and they created the iPhone, and then of course he has Nest, which he sold to Google for a couple $2 billion. And I was like, well, if he's going to be super hands-on, and his group is going to want info rights every month, and we're going to have a phone call every month, he's going to help us push the company forward, because which probably would have not happened, but I sometimes I don't know, because I'm thinking like, how many investments do they do? How much time will they spend? But I kind of like it was. I romanticized. At least
you would have been in Paris more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of a regret I have from like, I'm looking at all the business stuff, and it's funny.
Which company was this for?
It was Gamma.
Oh, for Gamma. Cool.
Yeah. So and I remember being super jet lagged, not sleeping, and sending an email saying, "Look, I don't think we're going to be able to get this where we need to be." And I was in Korea, and I just remember that, and I was like, "Well, is that the reason why Gamma didn't work?"
I don't think so. I don't know. How about you, Teddy? What's your process?
There's a lot of information, but I tend to categorize it in topics. So, for example, I decide that I'll focus on categories that really excite me. AI, of course, Web3, longevity. So whatever it's out there, I don't really want to pay attention to. I want to be informed, knowing just enough of the news in the world, but when it comes to my energy and focus and the tax that I would typically pay if I focus on everything, I'm just kind of cutting the things that are not in under those three categories. There may be some optional ones, like VR with like the Vision Pro, but it's nothing that really takes a lot of my attention. Yeah, AI. There's a lot about AI, and the thing you said about when GPT released their thing, we've been playing with it for a while, but it's exhausting when you just constantly look at what's new there, especially if you work on something. And we briefly talked about some of these things in the previous episodes where
it's more zen when you build, I agree.
Yeah. When you share a link to me with something that I'm working on or we work on, which is really, really bad, that takes a lot of attention. And then you somehow, no matter how much how much effort you put in not to pay attention to those things. You're just like, you can't stop thinking until you dig deeper a little bit. So just to avoid that, I, for example, deleted LinkedIn from my phone. So I don't really want to get all of that LinkedIn drama, or long ago
That's
Facebook. Yeah, I only, for example, keep Instagram. Just want to look at things that are beautiful pictures of, I don't know, nature or
I
New
kept my
York or
Facebook
things like
because
that.
Facebook's dead now, so, so it's not really taking much.
Yeah, Facebook's
Yeah.
totally dead. It's funny with the LinkedIn, like, and I like how we're talking about the information that you cut out. It's like, for a while, LinkedIn to me, and I don't know if this happened like just over the last few years. For a long time, LinkedIn, I never got envious of people on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
It was dead.
Yeah.
And then over the last like 5 years, 4 years, it was like crypto plus everybody, like, I don't know, like Dan Martell on YouTube, and like all these I don't know what you call them, entrepreneur influencers are on LinkedIn, and they're like, this is how
motivators.
this. Yeah, and it's you get addicted to LinkedIn now, and I agree, you got to take it off your phone.
No, but it's a lot of drama. Yeah, it's depressing. It's a lot of drama. It's a lot of semi-experts or people that don't quite know. And I know these people. They just share something as if they come up with some wisdom. So it's like, why would I spend my time and energy reading this BS? And I don't know. It's not relevant at all.
To me, some is relevant. And to Twitter, by X, I guess I'm going back at it, and I still need to filter my shit. But it's, I guess it depends what you have. Like, to me, LinkedIn, like the way I use it, is I see so many things in AI, and I follow, I think, the right people. And then I look at it, and I'm like, I have no idea what these guys are talking about. And then I realize, and I think maybe it's part of aging, because, you know, when you're 20, like right away, I would read every paper. I would install everything on my computer, just not sleep for more than 2 hours, and then develop around it. But not AI, like it moves so fast, and I'm like too old to follow that. So I kind of have to be like an experienced tennis player, you know, I have to run less and be better. But it's like, I have no idea. It's like every day, it's like, oh no, the new hot thing is to use. And then you have like this weird acronym you never heard of because they just came like 2 weeks ago from a research paper that you didn't read. And then at least I'm like, what I do is I share it, because this way, if one day I want to remember what it was, I can go back to my LinkedIn and be, okay, I need to read about that because maybe it's relevant. But right now it's moving so fast that it's like it reminds me, you know, these ads on television, like back in the 90s or 80s, where it's like, you know, you have this ad where someone is going to cut some tomato and then it poorly cuts it. And then you have the new sets of Shujitsu, whatever, 5,000, where you can cut some metal and then cut again. It's like this.
As
I like following
TV?
like this. Yeah, exactly. As seen on TV, but it's like, you know, it's always like, and then the week after you've got the Shujitsu showing and being like, that's a shit knife, but now you've got the Shujitsu 2000 who can cut even better. It kind of feels like that right now in AI, you know, it's like, well, no, and this thing beats blah, and then, you know, 2 weeks later, it's like, oh, this thing is like 20x better. I'm like, oh, just gonna, it's like, it's nonstop.
Yeah, there's no use of knowing that information up front.
Yeah,
my strategy is, my strategy is when I need this information, I'll be able to find it. Why would I be up to date with things that not necessarily relevant?
And again, we talked about it, like my conclusion is, look, I don't need to do that. Like OpenAI is doing that for me, and whenever they'll release GPT-5, that will include all the latest shit. As an entrepreneur, that's all I need to use, and I'm not going to take that fight of trying to understand any of these things in detail. Not for me.
Yeah, and I think there is true information overload sometimes when you get to the messy middle, and that's also, you know, people as well as social media, news, etc. And sometimes we go through the phase. I think there are these phases where you want to ask everybody what you should do, and you want to get advice, and then, at least this is for me, you want to ask everybody what you should do, then you get advice. Then you get annoyed at the advice because a lot of the advice you don't like. And then at some point, you just don't want to tell anybody what you're working on or get any advice. And that lasts for a long time. And it's like you're going to the party where people are like, what are you working on? And you're like, oh, yeah, you know, nothing. And then people walk away. And then then you get excited again about something you're working on, and you don't care what people say or the advice, and you become, it's not delusional, that's not the word, you become excited. So it's I think there are these stages of sort of information gathering.
But I was going to think also, I was thinking, sorry, that, I was thinking also again, like the difference between first time entrepreneurs or second time and then post exit and success. Also, at least for me, I think when I was younger, although I didn't even know I could do a startup, I guess I could have, is, especially when you come out of school, like luck plays a big role. So, if you go to school, you become a specialist in AI, you have a PhD in AI, you're like on the top of your game on that thing. And then you're like, oh my God, I know this new hot thing is going to come. And then you can build a startup around that. And so you have this domain of expertise. And then either you're going to keep that domain of expertise forever, and it's still really, really hard to do, or you keep your same company, or either you have to do something else, which is not to, you can't be specialized, because if you specialize on one thing and you're not the best expert, and you're not going to do a great startup. So I think, to me, at least now, the way I look at things is I'm like, my job is capital allocation and people allocation. And it's a matter of finding a decent business idea, and then assembling the team around it. And you need to know some of the technology, but it's a different game than to be lucky and to be, I'm graduating from Stanford, with a PhD on search engine. And, and then I end up somehow funding Google.
What was Teddy? What was your degree in? Frank, what was your degree in? Teddy first.
Computer science. Computer science.
Yeah, computer science also.
Yeah.
But I wasn't also. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say it's not the luck thing and what was the term you said? Like what you're getting out of something if you invest time in the right thing or resources. My theory is more like you should work on something regardless, and you will make it, whatever field that is.
Oh, that I disagree.
The question is whether, yeah, but the question is whether how big of an outcome you'll have in specific things, and what are you looking to get out of something.
Okay,
but if you focus on perfecting your craft, like in my case, I want to write good code and everything, eventually there will be a point where this is useful to maybe 5 people in the world. It may not be the Facebook scale, right?
But you're talking business, right? So it's like 5 people is not gonna crack it.
Yeah, but that's probably one of the ways how you can approach in general the messy middle, even like you're not sure what you want to do. So the better version of just staying and being sad that you're in the messy middle is to focus on what you really like to do and make it perfect. Maybe it will work for 5 people, and it will eventually happen to be something big. That goes back to your question of my studies, Gabriel, computer science, but I wasn't really looking at it as a up and coming field and it's going to be popular and people will make tons of money. I didn't even care about any of that. It was really, I just wanted to do things and find similar people with similar interests. And that was the place to go, this faculty where I went and university, and met people there. And eventually that led me to where I am today without even thinking about it, just by doing what I cared about.
Yeah, I think 2 different styles, but I would disagree on the process. I'll try to explain why. Number one, you're right. When I was an engineer, I had no clue of what business was. And I think I was even worse for me because we didn't have startup, we didn't have venture. So I came from a world where I wanted to do startup, I just didn't even know it. I'll give you an example. For fun, we developed something that takes a Windows and then totally reinstall it as a Linux with like copying 80% or 70% of everything automatically. I could have been a business. We just did it for fun. And like not 1 second I would have thought about doing a business. Or another one is I did an internship where I was automating the installation of remote computers. And I could have been a cloud company. I like at no moment I was thinking about it. Like I was more obsessed about my driver for BSD, needs to be really nice. And by the way, I think that's what happened with Eric Ries, which is basically like a quick course of marketing to engineers. But the reason I was thinking about this thing is Paul Graham also was talking about that, and I agree with him. But it's
that's YC.
And he was talking about like the luck part of studying something that's going to grow. But I have this example of a friend, for example, who specializes and is really, really good at his craft in that language, which is called Pike. And he stayed all his career in Pike, and now he got laid off, and no one wants to hire anyone who does Pike. And to me, it's like he loves it, and he's like the best guy in the world or one of the best guys at Pike, but this thing disappeared. And so to me, it's like it's a big fear. you can end up loving what you do, but it might lead you if you're not. But maybe Pike could have been the next Python, and then that would have been great, and then he would be like a millionaire.
But that's the size of the outcome of a specific situation. But maybe in his case, he could be, if you're hiring like the best person in something, maybe he's the right person because he was great at this, and he can easily become great in something else. It doesn't have to be Pike. There's one thing that I built also, not knowing anything about business. This was back in 2007. We built this URL shortening service. We started at the same time when Bitly started, for example. But I had no clue how to create business out of it. It was just a passion project. And that itself wasn't really successful. There are companies using it in Macedonia. There were, but it wasn't huge success. We didn't know how to scale it outside of the borders of the country. But it led me to so many other opportunities. So while I was doing what I love, which is this simple tool that solves 5 people's problem, it also helped me get my first internship. It helped me get my recognition in the space. It helped me get other gigs, and then I also learned a lot through the process.
That's good because you didn't become the world's. Today you're not working on shorteners anymore, are you?
Yeah, but like I was
it's
working
the luck.
on...
You got lucky, then you bounced out of it, then you pivoted. So it's
so that's what I'm saying. You create your luck by just focusing on the things that you love, because that's like the easiest option. You don't feel stressed when you work on these things. You don't feel external pressure. You don't bother with news outside.
I don't disagree with that. I understand, but
so it's a way for you to increase your luck by just doing something that you love. I guess it's the bottom line.
Sure, but it's hard to find. I agree. But when you're in the messy middle, you don't really know what you love.
And you have experience too, right? It's not the same as when you graduated and were clueless. You do have some luggage.
Because when I was around the same age, right, I did concerts, and the concerts led me to doing a music business, and the music business led me to New York, which I was in Boston first and I didn't mention my degree. It was entrepreneurial networking. That's what I ended up graduating with, but it was really 2 years of undergraduate business school at Babson and 2 years at NYU Gallatin. And because I did concerts and I wanted to do everything in music, led me to New York, which strangely enough led me into the payments industry, because I realized music I'd never make any money in. And then payments to Lars to whatever the journey was. But now it's like hard to think, okay, where is this next stuff going to lead? Because I have, almost 17, 18 years of experience of being an entrepreneur. So it's messy.
But the thing, you see, actually, to me, it reminds me when I was working with the Kaufman Foundation, but I think the debate we have right now, to me, is very, you see it everywhere. Very few people say it's only luck. That's really my point of view. But my point of view is very survivor's bias. And so then you're like, no, it wasn't luck. It's because I did this very process of like these 3 steps of whatever. And then you end up, with some Instagram channel that explains how to follow your passion. And but I'm doubtful. I do believe it's luck. And I'm like, cool, I got lucky. And now I've got this social capital. I can tap into it. Maybe I'm wrong. And maybe again, by doing that, I'll have the energy. So, again, there's no science. But I still suspect, we made it to a point where we are part of a survivor bias. But then, that's why I try to remember about my friend who will never tell his story, because I'm not even sure he found a job for the past 4 years. But, this guy is not going to come and say, follow your passion for sure. Maybe he will. Maybe he's happy. But anyway, sorry.
It is luck, right? It's...
Eddie, sorry, I was interrupting.
We know it's luck overall, but how do you increase the luck? There's no science.
Think you can. Again, I don't think you can increase your luck. I think after that it's a philosophical debate.
Coelho.
I know Paulo Coelho, but it's girls' books. But
girls' books.
Whatever.
You can increase.
Women loves Paulo Coelho. Anyway,
it's simple. You can win the lottery if you don't play the lottery. That's the thing. You just have to do certain things. It's not a rule that you have to work harder. Some people work less, but it's still part of the equation. It's seen in many cases where,
it really is a philosophical debate, and I think it's going to depend on many founders. Like some people would believe in God and say it's thanks to God. Some people don't believe in God, but might believe that we have free will, and then they will say, I build my own luck. And me, I think there's no free will. It's just somehow I got the right genes, the right location, and it's great. I'm writing the thing. And I'm still stressed about it, even though I technically shouldn't be stressed if I really believe what I believe. But anyway, it's it's like I'm like. But the thing, at least, if I go back and now if I assume I somehow play a role, I don't know what I do, but I go back to my foundation, right? Which is I look at this idea, I look for that, but my foundations, I would say, we talked about it last time, which is one, the future is going to be AI, and two, your future is going to be Asian. And the last one I'm adding now is there's going to be more conflict in the
Is there
future.
a reason why
so
both of them have? Is there a reason why they both have AI in it?
Asia, and no, and more conflict, and more conflict. And I'm like, at least I'm like, I know if I pick any idea. So if I'm like, okay, if I apply your methodology, Teddy, and I'm like, I'm passionate about X, then I'm really going to try to put X in in these things because my bet is that that's going to happen, and then you have more chances to grow. But anyway, let's talk about practical stuff. I know some of us can talk about it, some of us cannot. So I'll talk about what I can. But right now, I look at all these things and I kind of come with 2 or 3 ideas that taps into my social capital and my unfair advantages, and I'm exploring it. The last one is on defense, because more conflict, more defense. AI, and what's happening with the current conflict, is changing a lot. So I don't know. I know that I don't know. So I go through my discover phase. That's something I theorize with my entrepreneur journey. So discover is reading books, reading articles, and talking to people. And funny enough, I didn't know, but I have a pretty decent network in defense. So I'm gathering information on all that. I'm trying to make sense of what people are working on. But what I know is they're spending a lot of money, and I'm not sure they're really smart about it. So excited about that. Then there's the reboot of Startup Weekend /137, where I know I'll push something around September. And I've got a couple of people interested, and then we'll go into the details. But the gist of it is, Startup Weekend with people you select will yield to amazing outcome. That's the hypothesis. And the second hypothesis is you can't really invest in a startup based on an idea at such an early stage, but you can invest based on the team. And so I want to shift early stage funding to team funding. And I call that like a anti-pitch. And then the last one is increase productivity for corporation in AI, which is like zero passion. 1,000 people or 1 million people are going to work on that. But I believe I can, have 10 plus years experience working in corporations and all these things. So I think I can build a decent product. And the idea would be to work on crushing distances and languages. And so these are the 3 things I'm exploring. And what I'm trying to see is some of them I'm strong on funding, but I'm lacking the team. Some of them I'm strong on team, but I'm lacking funding. And so I'm trying to see which one pursue me every day, also in the shower. And hopefully I'm like Gabriel. I'm somehow, and I have no idea on how, but I know that 6 months from now, I'll nail it down. So that's my process.
Teddy, or do you want me to go?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on Frank's ideas. The last one, I think it's very saturated right now. There are a lot of companies doing a lot of things in AI. In that sense, I'm not sure what's the right angle there. Also goes back to the defense one. Palantir, for example, yesterday showed great results. They talked how they don't know what to do with the inbound that they have right now. They have clients reaching out, but they don't have the resource. They don't know how to.
Awesome. Send me the article. It's a good example.
Yeah, it's a great example, but I think there are a lot of similar companies tackling the same thing.
You and I know, if I would not start a company because someone else has the same company or is thinking about it, then we'll never start anything. That doesn't really bother me.
Yeah,
as long as I believe I can be better, I'm fine with
it. Frank's biggest exit is a company, or I shouldn't say it. Frank was basically a company I founded. We should have merged together. So you guys basically copied us. Come on, a little bit.
No. I remember because the discussion came from an experiment.
No, actually, how did you guys end up
Brand, no, it was Brand. Brand, without talking to you, has been implementing like a micro miner because the thing we did copy was
the irony is the exact. What did you take copy?
No, it's fine. It's fine. The thing that Brand did copy was the people who were doing like hacking, people's computer to micromine on a site, and then Peter added the idea that could be used as a way to do what is it called, like to do a paywall. And then we started to focus on browser and paywall.
Yeah.
And
No, I remember. I
And
remember.
you
I
guys
remember. But it just
were working on like tokens and gaming, using GPU. But I mean, to be fair, like at that time, how many things were working on mining and crypto and shit. Like, so it's not. It happens
right.
because
But
it's like now if you would do something in AI, and I would do something in AI, and I would say, oh, you copied my AI idea because it converged, towards something that makes sense. So no, I'm sincere.
kidding.
We're like, I know, but.
It's just what I think is really
But we talked
interesting
about
is that
it
we
though.
have.
I wish that as we converge, we should have merged. That would have been a cool thing. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the missed opportunity for sure.
So maybe that's your strategy right now for when there's a lot of competition like Palantir. I just shared a tweet with you. They do
you.
have this AI boot camps that they do. So they have demands for those boot camps right now, but there's apparently not enough resources on their side. So maybe you can look at some other companies much more scale.
Want to take over?
No, not Job and Palantir, but like that idea of helping companies with actually merging with someone existing, gain productivity in that sense.
Yeah, no. To me, anyway, we'll talk more about it. But the one I have for productivity is very clear. I have an angle which is the interface, and we talked about it. So one is push instead of chat. We can still have a chat, but the second one I want to dive into, and I just need a little bit of time to work on it, and I've got a great guy to work on it too, is to use screen capture. So I want an eye as an interface, and so to me it would be to develop a technology that just records your computer and understand things like that. So it's like a little agent that runs on your computer. I'm sure a couple of people work on that, but I would just dedicated it towards reducing the barrier of language and the barrier of distance. So as soon as you zoom in, then you can come with technology and things that no one else is doing that's less trivial and whatever.
And then you put it together and you're
not
off to the
ChatGPT
races.
only, It's like you have to make it a little bit more than that.
There was so for me it's I want adventure. That's kind of what I look for. Each of my projects that I've picked throughout my career, ones that either been successful or not, have included some sort of adventure. Gamma was definitely token sale type stuff, traveling to Asia. The SPAC was, let's take a company public in the world's largest, best, most liquid stock market, which is the US, and let's do it on NASDAQ. Could have done NYSE, but we're thinking techie NASDAQ, and see if we can pull it off. So I don't know what adventure I want next, and I'll feel like it always reminds me of Shackleton, of where you put the ad in the newspaper, being like low pay, odds of success are virtually nothing, but come on like the best adventure of your lifetime to the Arctic, right? And I don't know if that's apocryphal or real, but like I think it was. I think they have it like in there. So for me, it's a lot of it's based on adventure, and maybe that's ridiculous, but that's kind of what I love.
We talked about it. Good stories are good too. Good stories, good adventure.
Yeah, and where Teddy talks about loves and passions, like I used to have love and passion for certain things, but I think it's like kind of gone. Like it's kind of gone. Like for me, I love music, like, and I love travel, and I love
anymore.
Like no, I love music and travel, but like I wouldn't do a business around a travel business, and I wouldn't do because a travel business it's so competitive and hard. And music, I tried that many times, and every single time you do music, you're just like, oh God, no.
Yeah.
You see, but it's hard, but it may be the right thing to do because it's not going to be hard to you because you just love it. It depends on the level of love you have for music. It doesn't
no, it's
have
going
to
be next to impossible. It's going to be next to impossible. I tried it many times. So
it's not going to be
it's
yeah.
I'm like Gabriel. It's like this sentence, like whatever, which is like find something you love and you'll never work again. It kind of works up to a certain level, but I keep preferring the word passion, which means to suffer. And you do need passion when you start your stuff, but it's not because it's going to be great and you're going to love it every day. It's because this shit is going to crush your love and anything you like about it to the point where there's nothing left. And so you like, it's like the guy from I think, well, like you look at all the quotes, they're all accurate. Like, Elon, it's like, doing a startup is like eating glass and watching, in the empty horizon. Like the guy from Nvidia would say, would you do it again? It's like, no, I would not. It's too much suffering. Like I think, it's like you're to another degree. I can think of a simple one. When I was younger, I really liked movies, and then I started to work on a storyboard and started to try to make a mini movie. And then every time I go to see a movie now, I fucking hate it because every time I'm like, oh, that's an interesting angle. Oh, that's an interesting thing. And I can't enjoy a movie anymore. Fucking ruined it for me. And so, so I think like sometimes a degree of
that.
And so to me, my conclusion is like Gabriel, which is the things I love. Actually, I try to put them far away from the startup because I want to keep them, and so it's like I want to go back to being happy and having stuff I love.
That goes back to why, Teddy. Sorry, I feel like we're being too negative. But also goes back to my whole idea, and then we'll be conscious of the time here, because I don't know.
We need Teddy to answer.
Ramble on about
I think I agree.
Yeah.
No, I find this whole thing beautiful, very beautiful. Like the thing that Elon Musk says, it doesn't matter. No one said it's gonna be easy. This whole thing, it's you're signing up for it, and I just love the journey. It doesn't matter.
I am Optimus Prime. So people will not understand. Go check on TikTok, Miley Cyrus, The Journey. But yeah, that's good. I do not care anymore. I am Optimus Prime.
There is that moment where Teddy, where at least I know that experience. Like, yes, I'm excited, I'm committed, I'm signed up. It's the journey, and I don't feel that during the messy middle. I only feel that once I commit to something once we're out of the messy middle, because the messy middle, I feel like, what the hell am I doing with my life? And so I think we talk about these practical steps that we're going through. And I always, and I wanted to comment because I spent this past weekend with my dad. When I was younger, I would always think my dad wasn't a successful entrepreneur because he became a doctor, right? But now that I'm older, exactly, doctor, you only make whatever. Yeah, you only make like $1 million a year or whatever. Yeah. Oh no, he pays a shit ton of taxes because doctors, unlike us entrepreneurs, can't write off a ton of shit like on S corps and things like that. I always was like, he's not really entrepreneurial, not this. But then I realized he was, because he opened up a bunch of offices. He didn't work for anybody. It was himself. And what he explained to me this past weekend, he was like, look, you picked a really challenging career. And he's like, you've gotten to a certain point in it. He's like, you can make the phone calls, you can get the attention to everybody. But he was worried was he was like, do you think this is going to be your lifelong pursuit? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I think it's like, unfortunately, I think we're all stuck. Not unfortunately, we say fortunately.
I think unfortunately is the right thing. I mean, the truth is, I wish I could just be happy with a job. I do believe it's a form of sickness. Like, this is destroying you. It makes you miserable, and you're like, are we going to do a messy middle? And it's going to be great. I'm going to relax and whatever, grow vegetables somewhere. And then you're like, fuck, like AI stuff. I need to go back at that. And it's like, to me, I do believe it's a sickness that I like. Maybe at one point it will be put on the DM, like whatever, like the DM something 5 6, I guess, for psychologists. No, there might be something wrong with us.
It's gotta be. I don't know, because my dad was like, look, he's like, okay,
we've got little technical issues.
What technical issue?
No, it's good. You're frozen and had the voice of a robot, but you're back.
Oh my God.
Just need to buy an internet connection.
I have a new iMac. No, is it the internet connection?
It's 8 gig of RAM and internet, drops. Yeah, for sure.
So
sorry, but anyway, like Teddy, what I don't know. I don't know if there's a conclusion to that, but anyway, I'm like, I can't help it. Like, I developed this thing, and I dream of it. I sleep on that. Like, it's like I just I can't help it. I'm not saying I enjoy it, but it's almost like it's like I have to. So it's all I know how to do. Like, I mean, honestly, you put me on trying to do any other job, I'm not sure if I can. I'm not even sure what
I
that
also
job
never.
is. Like, it's like if you try to describe what I do, it just depends day after day. It's like you have to build a dream, tell a story, get people excited, build a team, raise money, figure out strategy, get very, very lucky as part of a job, and then grow things. And as you grow, shit is become bigger. And then it's all a game of how far can you push that, Sisyphus ball. And then you're like, oh, I'm done. And then you're like, fuck, I need to start that again. And I don't know why, but because if not, you don't know what else to do. It's the same. And I know, sorry, just to finish, but Gabriel, you know that we have this property where sometimes I don't like to be a CEO. We talked about it before. I don't like to be a leader. Fucking hate that. But every time it's like, if I don't do it, no one will do it. And then you kind of end up to do it. And then suddenly you become the leader of a CEO. I'm like, fuck. But it's not like, oh, I want to do it. It's not like this motivation video about like, oh, that's like real leaders do that. It's like, I'd be curious how many leaders ended up there without wanting to be.
Yeah, I think you just get shit done and you become what you become. Doesn't
Exactly.
matter. You're just
all of
taking
us-
responsibility.
Agreed. I think
Just
there's
because
like
no one else
one
does
thing-
it, it's like, okay, I'll go. Fuck.
Yeah. Well, and that's my challenge with like those motivational speakers and everything. They're like, here's the 5 things I learned from these billionaire CEOs.
Can we do a fun one? Like, or maybe we should do it for April, but can we do a fun one where we just bullshit everybody and just give like 5 easy steps to everything? That'd be fun. I'd love to do that.
Sure.
Nice.
Sure.
April, maybe. For April.
Yeah. Okay, who's got the quote for today? Because we beat this subject to death, whatever the subject was today.
I just wanted to, before that, to talk about the projects also.
Okay,
share what I can share.
I look for a quote for Tony Robbins meanwhile.
Yeah, you can look for a quote. I think my projects are again related to those 3 major categories: AI, Web3, longevity, but not necessarily working on these things. I mean, I'm exploring. So, for example, longevity is something that I don't know a lot about. Just find it.
But it looks like it's pursuing
really
you
interesting.
because you keep talking about it even though it makes no sense. So it's definitely gonna happen.
Yeah, but I don't have the time to fully commit to anything there. I mean, I run my firm, the no-code company, which is my full-time thing. And there we started with AI, which I don't know why, for what reason. I looked at AI at that time as interesting, but not really that fast evolving thing. This was, again, 2020 August, got access to GPT-3 back then. And I knew back then that things are going to move, but not with this speed. So I kind of said to myself, we still have some time. We built a product, which was no-code website builder with AI.
Yep.
But just because I thought things will move slower and because of the feedback from people was, this is cool, but maybe not right now. We still have these tools.
It's a timing issue. It's a
timing issue for sure. Yeah. And then I switched to Web3. So we have 2 products right now. Web3 is the no-code. So kind of kept the technology. The no-code smart contract builder. So we have the no-code website builder and the no-code Web3 smart contract builder. So these are the 2 major products. But then also with Web3, things started falling apart because of the association with cryptocurrencies and whatever happened with.
But it's coming back for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I know. So, but like in meantime, sort of bouncing between Web3 and AI. I still believe AI is the application layer of the internet, and Web3 is the infrastructure. Everything will be Web3 blockchain based in terms of low level stuff. So I'm definitely not going anywhere from that.
VR.
But in meantime, we are building little projects that are relevant for the space. For example, right now we're building this prompt management tool instead of working with your. Just quickly to.
A second.
You will
let him finish.
Yeah, the prompt management tool is, for example, something that came out from our own issues working with people that use AI and they have their prompts in their code. So, in the messy middle phase, as a company, we're trying to build products that are relevant for those 2 things that we are standing for and that we find passion in. And then longevity, again, it's nothing that I'm working full-time or anything. It's just more exploratory. So these are sort of my project between AI and no code and Web3. Go ahead, Frank, pitch.
No, I was serious. I had an idea for you. I wanted to pitch and wanted to know if you want to explore that for the NFT slash contract, which is Gabriel knows that, but I keep one of my goals is to buy a home in Japan this year, like just find a cheap one and I'll figure it out. And then for fun, I was listening to someone talking about the economy of Argentina, and I went on a website in Argentina, and in Buenos Aires you can have like Parisian style Haussmannian building for like 80 square meter, and it's beautiful, but because the money has been crushed so much, for $10,000 you can also buy a home. And then I'm like, I would love to be able to buy one in Japan, one there, but how to manage that? It's like, then I need to find the right contact, a notary there, blah blah. If I can have a website where I would have like, look, don't worry about it, we have every paper is attached to an NFT, and then you allow anyone to buy a bunch of properties and take care of the service in the back automatically and trade them and buy them, and it's like $5,000, $10,000, like 5 Ether, 10 Ether. I'm like, I'd be down for that because it looks like less work. So I thought that would be a cool mini project. And what I know is every time I show it around me, people are like, holy shit, like for $10,000 you can buy a home in Japan. I'm like, yeah. And so I don't know, I thought it would be a cool mini product where it's like an application of what you do, and maybe you can layer up some AI, but it's like basically it just boils down to, can you buy a property and manage the property by digitalizing them anyway. So maybe it's a distraction, but happy to it would be a fun project.
I think there is something out there, not quite sure of the name, but why would you need NFT or blockchain proof to manage it?
No, just because right now if I have to manage everything, then I know it's going to be, right? It's going to be 5 emails, like a lawyer email, a notary email, like some emails in Japanese, some emails in Spanish. Everything will be on paper. And if I want to sell it, then I would have to kind of do that. But if I could just be transfer that all shit by saying like, hey, I've got 5 properties and all of them is one NFT, and pass it to someone else, like somehow it's easy. And then someone else would be like, cool, like now I own, someone else did the work, but now I own all the document and all the contact, and just like send an email to everybody, hey, new owner, by the way, blah, whatever. Like I feel like that'd be cool.
Cool.
Anyway, it's B2C, so I don't know, but I feel like your background, at least I'm happy to push an experiment on that. Sorry.
Sure. It's like the Deal, DEEL, where you can hire employees globally and they manage the whole process. Basically you would do a real estate version of Deal, which my assumption is it exists. It doesn't exist at scale. There were things
it exists, but I would just specialize on Japan and Argentina, or whatever place where you can buy a home for $5,000. That's amazing, like, or Detroit. I'd be like, it's a vertical.
The challenge of Argentina is just the rule of law, and who knows, maybe the home will get taken away from you. At least Japan,
Yeah, but who cares? Who cares? You lost $5,000. Who gives a shit? It's fine.
Okay.
And maybe this $5,000 beautiful apartment that looks like a $2 million apartment in Paris would actually be worth $2 million.
So for those who are listening, if you want to put in a couple $1,000 with Frank, Teddy, and I to go buy a place in Japan, let us know.
Or in Argentina, or both. Yeah. No, I mean,
we'll
check it out.
Housewarming party there.
Yeah, people don't know, so I'm just going to give a quick explanation. But right now, home in Japan, 8 million homes are empty. Japan is moving a lot towards attracting people. They just announced they're going to have a remote worker visa starting in April. And the 8 million empty home are going to go up to 10 million empty home. So you're not going to make money. It's not like an asset that's going to go up. But I mean, you can have like a life in a beautiful place, like, that's one of the place where, like, anyway, it's Japan, so it's awesome. As for Argentina, what's happening is they've been through 800% inflation. The money is collapsing, and right now, like, it's just a total mess. But the new president basically killed every regulation, which led to, on top of that, like a 30% drop in the cost of a house, because it added tons of homes in the market. So it's like the lower it can be. And go Google. Just Google apartment in Buenos Aires, and for the price of Apple Vision Pro, you can have a villa, which is still going to be there 100 years from now. And then again, like, it could be a cool thing. You could go on the website and be like, oh, I bought for my niece. Here you have your little NFT of a real home in Argentina. Happy birthday.
Mm-hmm. I'd be so pissed. I'd be so pissed. I'd be like, you bought the home, but you didn't give me my $250 gift card to. Oh, so it's not an investment for you because it's not an investment. Don't worry,
No.
it's just a share that you have in the house.
No, a lot of people
No,
do fractional
I think it's
stuff,
cool.
but the price are so low that it's not. You don't need to fractionize it. It's like one fraction is one home.
We got to know what the taxes are. You got to know all this other stuff. But I'm just throwing
Yeah,
out
it doesn't matter.
practical
It doesn't
things
matter.
that
Like
have to
you
worry
set up
about.
the operation for that, and you put some AI to figure it out. You know, it's like it's run by some AI lawyer. Whatever.
Okay.
Stupid
Do we
stupid
have a
idea.
quote? Do we have a quote? No,
Oh,
it's
yes,
a good
yes.
idea.
I've got a.
It's just first
I've got-
buy the house.
It's a
Teddy, is there
weekend idea.
anything else that you want to say?
Yeah.
No, that's it. Let's hear
Okay.
the quote.
So it's a beautiful quote by Tony Robbins, which says, "If you
Tony
can't,
Robbins.
you must." Yeah, you know, if you can't, you must. If you must, you can. Jesus, who makes this thing? It's like so stupid.
That's
Should I
it?
repeat it? Is it? Yeah, that's it. I've got tons of them. I mean, your past does not equal your future.
No,
The path-
no. We're supposed to do just one. Just one. Don't
Okay, but-
bastardize our
Pick the best
ritual.
one.
No, but that wasn't the best one.
Pick
That's
one.
a joke. Like these are awful quotes. Like these are like nonsense.
Okay, so
Like,
pick the one you want. This will
I
be
don't
here
have
for
anyone
the
I want. That's
record.
not my turn. It's every week I give quotes. Your turn. It's Gabriel's turn. Give us
You're
a
the quote person, and you'll keep sharing quotes unless you
Forever.
create the
That's
music
Yeah,
video,
you didn't even.
the intro.
Yeah. Where is our intro? Can't you tell
Okay,
Julia just to make the intro? I mean, geez.
I can put Hermes like, oh, actually, a cool idea. You know, it's like the movies where you had the lion. Maybe I just put Hermes as a. And then,
Yeah, no one is gonna watch this
Cute.
podcast. It's 50 minutes long, so we should just cut
Right,
it
right.
right here.
Okay, good.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
No, we need a quote.
We had a quote. That's Tony Robbins. A shitty quote. We're fine.
Oh, great. Fine.